Thank you for watching Meatsauce and Monty. I'm Matt Montgomery. He's Paul Meatsauce Lambert. You see the Twins clinch the AL Central?
Yeah, it was really cool, but it's one of those things where I realize every single day that I'm basically turning into my grandparents, even though I'm only 37.
Interesting.
The Twins won, and I'm like, I could stay up.
Did you go to bed?
Yeah, I'm like, I could stay up, and I'm like, I could watch the split screen bit that the MLB Network did.
Yep, which was wonderful.
Which was great.
Yeah.
And at about 3 innings into the game, into the Twins game, I'm like, I'm going to bed. And then all of a sudden, I said to myself, I'm not kidding, it was like 6:15.
Okay.
I played golf and I didn't take a nap, so I'm basically like...
You were really tired.
I basically live in my own version of an old folks' home. Nap time, we eat 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah, but you make your own meals.
Mostly keep to ourselves. Yeah, sometimes.
Hey,
yeah.
And he's got his license and he's single. So
yeah.
The old folks' home, I like the analogy.
I would crush it in old folks' home.
You would.
But so I sit around and I do that. But then at like 8:15 when they're about to win, I go, this hasn't happened in 9 years.
Yeah.
I got to get up. So I got up, went out in my living room with my skivvies on. Forget that like people across the way from my condo building can see me.
Yeah, you left the shades open
intentionally. So then I put a blanket over me. Yeah,
then you sit kind of suggestively.
Well, kind of.
You're putting on the show.
Yeah, but it's my house.
If you live by yourself, you can do that.
You can't see it anyway.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, go.
I'm like a Ken doll.
You're like Peter Griffin.
Gross. No, like a Ken doll.
Yeah.
I'm not that fat.
Well,
Jeez, Matt.
I'm sorry. I thought that the Ken doll, you're more than a Ken doll, I hope.
Yeah, barely.
You gotta...
But I was excited to see him win. I'm hoping that they can do some damage. And the one mantra that they have that they should have the whole time, none of these guys give a rip about the Twins teams in the past. They have a swagger about them. I love that. I think they'll most likely play the Yankees a week from the day we taped it on a Thursday or Friday.
Yeah. There you go.
So I think they can win. Yankees have the same issues. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll talk more Twins later in the show in our What If segment. We've got Chuck Foreman coming up in just a few minutes.
Sweet.
One of the best Vikings of all time. He's going to be here. But we're going to start off talking Vikings.
Yeah, let's do it.
So last week, a win over the Raiders. You almost had this down to the points. You picked them to win 35-10. It was 34-14. What is there to diagnose from that game other than a complete win in all facets?
Well, I think the one thing that we've learned from this Vikings team, this Kirk Cousins-led Vikings team, is if it's a bad team, bet the house on them.
Yeah.
They can beat bad teams. But the one thing you can say, and I'm stealing this take from Paul Charchian, they have played 11 dominant quarters. 11.
Yeah.
4 against Atlanta, 3 against Green Bay, and 4 against
Oakland.
The Raiders, which my math tells me that's 11.
11 out of 12, very good.
They've dominated 11 quarters. They had one bad quarter against the Packers, so they're 0-3 or 2-1 instead of 3-0, minus that awful interception. But they are a good football team. The Minnesota Vikings are a great football team. They can win today. They could beat just about any football team. But
Just about any.
They'd have I think they'll be huge dogs against Kansas City, and if they ever played New England, they'd be pretty big dogs. But
aren't they 2-point dogs at the Bears today?
But you're
not saying that's not big enough. You're saying
they never win.
Okay.
Yeah, on a neutral site, the Vikings would probably be a point or 2 favorite.
Right.
Maybe even a 3-point favorite. Doesn't matter. But they can line up and beat just about anybody. The problem is they run into these weird mistakes and they do all these odd things.
Yeah.
If they play the game that they're intended to play, they can beat anybody.
Beat anybody. So last week, Kirk Cousins, 15-21, 174 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 0 sacks. Those numbers sound okay, but conservative. Those numbers, he has the 3rd fewest yards for any starting quarterback in these first 3 games.
Yeah.
They're just not, I don't know if you put that, obviously I don't want to put that just on Cousins. Stefanski has something to do with it. But is the gameplay because of Dalvin Cook's success? Are they being so conservative that Cousins' numbers are just so low?
I think that's part of it. I think they also, the one thing you can say about the Vikings is they don't have, we haven't seen it yet, is a killer instinct.
Yeah.
A New England-led team, the Saints, they would never take the foot off the gas. New England never does. New England had their backup come in against the Jets. I think he got nicked up a little, but Brady went right back in when he threw that interception. They do not let up. The Vikings kind of let up. Or, the optimist would say, Maybe they just don't want to, expose Kirk Cousins.
Sure.
Maybe they don't want to do that. But,
play tight to the vest as long as you
yeah,
can.
and as long as they can hand it off and win with 33, they're fine. They'll need him today, and they'll need him in
Kirk
Dallas.
Cousins or 33,
Cousins.
or both.
Well, how about,
I'd say
I
both.
don't think Chicago's given up a 1,000-yard rusher since 2017.
100-yard rusher.
100, you know what I mean.
1,000 would be pretty
That'd
amazing.
Be a record,
That
would be something that would happen to me against me in fantasy football.
Yeah, if you got the first pick, it's still
I hate fantasy
wouldn't
football.
matter.
I'm so bad at it.
I love fantasy football. I'm doing great.
Here's why I hate
Last week
fantasy
I was 3-0.
football.
So
No one cares. No one cares
Thank
about
you.
my fantasy football story, but I just like to talk. Because this is like the only human interaction I've had all day.
Okay.
Other than the coworkers who are brutally mean to me.
I know. What a bunch of jerks.
People held captive are treated better than I am on the Power Trip Morning Show. Anyhow, I get so much advice from the commissioner of our football. He's been texting me before. I don't care.
Do you
You're
listen
bad.
to him?
Change your strategy. No.
And then you
I said
still
I need
lose?
something from you, and that's all I care
Yeah.
about. I'm just kidding. He's one of the greatest guys ever, but he's like, you should do this. Shut up.
Yeah.
It's fantasy football. I'm 0-3.
I'm in 3 different leagues. Last week I went 3-0. Yeah, good for me. Nobody cares. I get it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I'm
it was great.
0-3, and I have Patrick Mahomes.
What's the rest of your team look like?
Me?
Ooh.
Hideous?
Yikes.
Yeah, it's bad.
Is there anything to be afraid of with Mitch Trubisky? We have not played the Bears yet this year, and I think you've brought him up multiple times of saying he can't throw to his left. You've seen the video. We've had that at least in conversation. In today's game, and we're not doing our picks till the end of the show, but Mitch Trubisky, is there anything to be afraid of with this guy?
Mitchell Trubisky is
I like
the
how you say
worst.
Mitchell.
Whatever it is. Mitchell Trubisky is a bottom 5 quarterback.
Okay.
Mitchell Trubisky is an awful quarterback.
Okay.
And every game that goes by that Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson dominate, you cannot. It was a little bit easier for Ryan Leaf to get away from it, even though he had his own issues, but he turned his whole life around. He's a good story.
Okay.
In today's society, Mitch Trubisky can't get away from the fact the Bears traded up for him.
Yep.
And they have a Hall of Famer in Patrick Mahomes, maybe an all-time quarterback, and Deshaun Watson, who, if he had an offensive line, is an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
At least once or twice in his career.
And they were picked, later first round?
Yeah, and they were in the same draft. And
Yeah.
Mitchell Trubisky's awful, but he can make a play that kills you every once in a while, and he seems to have done that against the Vikings. But he is the least factor thing to worry about. They have nothing to worry about with him.
Mitch Trubisky, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 579 yards, 8 sacks. He ranks 29th in yards per game so far this season. Kirk Cousins, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 502 yards, just 2 sacks, ranks 31st in yards per game so far. So Trubisky or Cousins?
Trubisky or Cousins, obviously.
All right.
The thing with Trubisky, though, is he hasn't, the touchdowns, those 3 touchdowns,
to Gabriel.
he threw last week.
Yeah,
On Monday or Sunday night, whatever
in
that
a
was.
quarter.
Monday night.
Wasn't
in
it
a
all
quarter.
the same quarter? Yeah.
Mitchell Trubisky, I don't know. The problem with Kirk Cousins is we haven't seen him open it up yet. If he can't open it up, you doubt it's against the Bears.
Open up a can of...
Whatever it is, just open it up and start bombing it down the field and move the ball with him. And he's going to need to do that. If we've seen it all year, Dalvin Cook he never can stay healthy. If he can't, then we're going to have to see Kirk Cousins win him a ball game. He had an opportunity in Green Bay. He didn't do it. If he has an opportunity, this is a giant game.
It's a huge game.
For Kirk Cousins in his career.
Soldier Field, I think the Vikings are 3-15 there since 2001. Do you think that there's a mystique? Do you think there's an aura there? Or you think that's a bunch of BS and Zimmer doesn't buy into it? 2 of those wins are under Mike Zimmer.
I think it's the same thing that can be said about what we said to start the show about the Twins and the Yankees. None of the guys that were on those teams are on the team. They don't care. And Mike Zimmer said in his press conference this week, and he's 100% right, they've lost 2 straight there.
Yeah.
So maybe that mystique's gone. And, the problem, though, is if they can get a touchdown or 2 out of Mitch in the first game, the Packers aren't 3-0. Something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they aren't as good as they are. The problem is Khalil Mack is the best defensive player we've seen outside of Aaron Donald since maybe Ray Lewis or Johnny Randall.
Wow.
Khalil Mack
Control
is
the game
dominant.
up front.
Dominant.
Yeah. Time for a quick break. We're going to have Chuck Foreman up here in just a second. So, game day pick and play. Rush in Sundays all season long here to Mystic Lake. Pick up the winning teams for each team on the scheduled pro games. Top 20 players each week score free slot play plus. If you pick every winning team and score the weekly progressive jackpot.
Sweet.
You're a comedian. You're pretty funny. I've
Thank
seen
you. I
your show.
appreciate that.
Bumping Mics with Jeff Ross and Dave Attell. Comedians Jeff Ross and Dave Attell have combined their fine-tuned comedic forces. They share the stage as co-headliners. Their show, Bumping Mics, you can get 25% off those tickets by using the code SAUCE, S-A-U-C-E. Go to Ticketmaster.com or in person at the Mystic Lake box office. That offer is valid through 10 p.m. Tuesday, October 1st. Cannot be combined with any other offer. Tickets subject to availability. Guests must be 18 plus or accompanied by a parent or legal guardian. Look at that, you got your name on a promotion. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, number 44, Chuck Foreman. We appreciate you coming here again.
Always good.
Were you given more basketball scholarships? We know you're a great athlete.
Right.
We know you were a great running back, a great receiver.
Mm-hmm.
You were also a great basketball player?
Yeah. I could have played basketball anywhere I wanted.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did you choose football instead of basketball?
I was a forward in high school.
Okay.
I mean, I could jump and all, but I thought that football, would be the best for me. I mean, I just thought that it took a tougher guy.
Yeah?
The basketball, where I grew up, there's tons of great basketball players. And so I love football, basketball too, but I even played basketball at Miami my freshman year.
Did you really?
Yeah, and then I just said, I couldn't do both. It was too much.
Oh.
So, basketball was in my era. I grew up in a place called Frederick, Maryland, right between Baltimore and Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Now, if you know anything about college basketball, you look on pretty much any basketball team, you got somebody from Baltimore or Washington that's a big-time player.
Yep. Well, Durant's from Washington,
Durant's
D.C.
from Washington, all those guys on the East Coast.
You were honorary captain at Miami. How was that?
That was great. It was a great experience for me. I liked the new coach, Manny Diaz. I met his father. All the coaches, they got a great coaching staff. They had 2 great recruiting years. They got some exceptional players, and now it's just a matter of making sure they stay. Because, in Miami, a lot of times we get these agents that come in there and promise these guys, oh, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And then as an internet, like I said to you when we were off air, they will commit, and then they go in the 6th and 7th round, and then they got that rookie contract, and if you're not on your game, you're not getting the second one.
Yeah. Yeah, the other thing too is about Miami is that's where Dalvin Cook is, that area.
He's from Miami.
Man,
right.
the beauty of Miami though is they need a stadium on campus. They don't have one.
Well,
do they?
we don't
Are
have
they sharing with the Dolphins?
We're at Dolphin Stadium, but we don't have enough unless they, the city of Coral Gables just gives us the land to build. But we still get, like I said, there'll be 60,000 to start the game.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you there might be 30 at the end of the game because if we're blowing people out, they're going to leave. If we're losing, they're going to leave. But they'll start, with a great crowd. But when they're winning, in the big time games there, it stays crowded.
Yeah.
You could make an all Miami NFL team in a video game and they would win every single game.
No question. Yeah.
Every single game. You at tailback, Clinton Portis at tailback. The tailbacks that Miami's have, unbelievable. Willis McGahee.
I got to tell you, some of the greatest football players that ever played in the NFL have come through the halls of Miami.
Michael Irvin.
That's just the offense. Warren Sapp, we got, just Bernie Kosar, Tessa Verde, Steve Wall. You can go on down.
Yeah. All right. Okay, we were talking college football. We want to talk Vikings football.
Okay, we can talk
So,
Vikings. Okay.
1973, we're talking, born on the East Coast.
Right.
You go down to Miami, and then all of a sudden you're up here in the frozen tundra.
Right.
What was that like, the shift from Miami to Minnesota?
It
when you were a young man?
was very interesting. My first real cold, because I'm from Maryland. We got cold in Maryland.
Sure, it gets cold.
But then you go to Miami for 4 years and you
Yeah.
stand in 91, 100 and some degree weather. And then, I'm used to that. And then I get up here, and as it was starting to get colder, Bud Graham was, I was staying out longer and longer. Everybody else was going in after practice, and this guy kept me out in the cold weather. And I'm like really teed off, because I really didn't really understand what he was doing.
Yeah.
But what he was doing is getting me used to the weather.
Yeah, he was acclimating.
And so he was acclimating me to the weather. But I tell you, and then my first game when it was really, really cold, I had so much on. I was like, I'm gonna stay warm. And before I went out on the field, he came over to me and said, no, you got to take some of those layers off. And I'm saying, okay. So he stood there. And so I'm taking the layer off here. He says, no, that's not enough. Another layer and another layer. I had about 4 or 5 of them. I ended up with one layer on, and I'm like, and it had a little, the sleeve came down here, and he says, you know, you're only cold if you think you're cold.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there saying to myself, well, I don't believe that, but I'm. But you know, really, it really does have something to do with. Really, if you know you're cold, you do handle it differently.
Yeah.
No
What was your
question.
first moment in the NFL where you go, it's way different than college?
My first game,
Yeah.
because when I got out, the game was over. The next day we came to practice, and I could barely walk.
Oh my.
That's how much more physical it was. When I
Yeah.
played in college, hey, I could go play a game and have fun and do anything I wanted to do. But in the pros, the next day I'm like, wow, this is. And then the coach is walking next to me. He says, "How you feeling?" I'm like, man, this. And that's when I started learning how to like get home, ice down, do all that kind of stuff. But it was physically, that was the difference.
When you look back on your career as a running back and being so versatile, the spin doctor, getting the passes out of the backfield, you are third all-time in Vikings rushing yards behind Adrian Peterson and Robert Smith.
Right.
You're third. But receptions, you're 10th all-time in receptions, 17th in receiving yards, 15th in receiving touchdowns. Think of that, the entire franchise, if you could, receiving court, 15th in receiving touchdowns and third in rushing yards.
But you know, you got to remember back in my time.
Okay.
You can't compare today's stats
Okay.
to back then. You cannot do that.
How so?
All right, number one, receptions, wide receivers.
Yep.
First of all, they were going to bump and run you all the way downfield until the ball was thrown. So you had to be number one, you had to be physical, you had to be quick, and you had to be able to run a pattern. And then you might get open. You know what I mean? And then if you didn't catch the ball, he wouldn't hit you anyway. So it's not going to be like it is now. You can run, anybody can catch 100 passes nowadays. Okay, even rushing
fair
yardage.
enough, absolutely.
Even rushing yards. Now I'm playing 14 games a season. Even rushing yards, if you watch the NFL today, every play they hold. It's just that how they hold.
Yeah.
Right.
If you
And
grab out here,
Yep.
They'll call it. If you get them in here, it's good
It's
to
fine.
go.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking anything away from their talent.
You
but-
can, you're our guest, you're here. You
Okay,
can,
well,
if
so
you want to.
what I'm saying is, you can't compare football in my era to the football in this era, because with the rule changes and the things that they have changed to open up the offenses, the statistics are going to be that much greater.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But
It's
if
inflated.
Yeah, it's inflated. But you can let those boys come down there when I played and see if they can handle that physicality of that game then.
The Purple People Eaters?
Every practice, they didn't let them hit me, but I'm just saying you can't make that comparison because
Sure.
it's not fair. Well, actually, it's not fair to the guys of today to compare them to the guys in my time, because when those guys played the game, it was a legit physical battle every game.
Can this team win today in Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, I think our team has as much talent as any team in the game right now. But we had some offensive line problems the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
They seem to pretty much improve that. And I remember last year when we were watching the game, that defensive line dominated us pretty
Yeah, they did.
good, and then they didn't do so.
Even in week 17.
Yeah, and even on our defense has to play lights out, and if the offense just plays really good, steady, they can beat anybody.
Yeah. What was it like to be somewhat revolutionary? Like we were talking before about how the game has changed. A lot of the history books say that Jerry Burns kind of created what became known as the West Coast offense.
Right. We called
that
it-
included you being such a receiving threat.
That was the reason why he built that offense. We called it the purple.
The purple?
That's the name. That's the original.
That's
name.
the original instead of West
The
Coast.
purple offense was put me in the slot and all over, outside slot, and all that kind of thing. And what the reason he created that is because at the University of Miami, at number one, I played both ways. I played cornerback, wide receiver, and running back. And when I got drafted here, to be a number one draft choice and the 12th player pick, this is what happened to me. When I got here, they sat me down, Jim Fink sat me down in the office. He says, okay, now we got you here, where do you want to play?
They didn't already have, yeah, right.
No, they said to me, where do I
where you
had
want to
the
go?
choice. Do you want to play offense, you want to play defense, or you want to play wide receiver, running back, or corner? Whichever one you want, you can play.
Wow.
That's because you were such an athlete. They said, we want him on our team and we'll find a spot for him.
Yeah, when I said running back, all my people started calling me, are you nuts? Why don't you play wide receiver?
What makes Dalvin Cook so good?
That 0 to 5 yards, that 1-2 step, that first 2 steps. His first 2 steps, he's in full speed.
Yeah.
And like I say, there's speed, but there's South Florida speed.
Yeah, that's what he's got.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
yeah.
South Florida speed, for those of you who don't know, are the guys that what they do is they're on the beach and on the sand every day.
Yeah.
And they running barefooted. And I don't know what it does to these guys. You see all these guys that are from Florida. The one thing they have is speed. And in South Florida, you can find speed anywhere. I mean, legit. But he's one of those guys that's so special. And he's tough, he's strong, and he's just got to stay healthy.
Yep. Chuck, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
All right.
Before you head out, if you could sign the helmet.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Wonderful.
Okay, though.
Again, thanks to Chuck Foreman for being here and being our guest tonight at Mystic Lake. Alicia Cara grabbed the world's attention with her global anthem Here. 3 years later, she captured the attention of the music world, winning a Grammy Award for Best New Artist. Her rapid rise is a combination of her real-world style of pop and soul fused with remarkable vocals, songwriting, and award-winning performances. You can get tickets to see her right here at Mystic Lake on November 1st. Are you a Alicia Cara fan?
She's great.
Time for What If, one of our new segments. What if the Twins, they've clinched the AL Central on Rocco Baldelli's birthday? What if you could have something really cool happen to you on your birthday? What would you do?
I've had a couple of cool things happen on my birthday. Like what would I want it to be?
I mean, if you could,
Win the lottery.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as you keep it clean enough for a Sunday morning
I'd win
show.
the lottery, yeah.
All right. Win the lottery on your birthday.
Well, yeah, what you're thinking is literally the coolest thing I've ever had on my birthday. But yeah, that was many moons ago.
How do you know what I was thinking?
We're thinking the same thing.
What if the Twins get garden hired, copyright Dan Cole, the common man, by the New York Yankees in the divisional round?
It won't matter.
Won't matter?
It won't matter. No,
Really?
no one thought they'd be this good. I was listening to the Gleeman and the Geek podcast on the way out here, and they said they played a clip from their show. They do like a over-under show before the season. And I think Gleeman gave them like a 10% chance to go to the playoffs.
Wow.
So
there you go.
They're playing with free money. They have literally nothing to lose. Rookie manager, they got nothing to lose.
So be loose and free.
It wouldn't be fun, but they got nothing to lose.
Okay. The Twins in the celebration in Detroit. Sergio Romo running around Comerica Park in his boxer briefs. La Tortuga, Williams I always say that wrong. Astudio.
Yeah.
See, I'd have to work on that one. Dancing in the clubhouse, doing a little move. What if you won something big? What would you post on social media?
Would be something similar.
You'd be running around naked?
It'd be as little exercise as possible, but it would be something like that. Yeah.
You'd be doing the dance.
I loved it. I love the excitement. Those guys have earned it, man. A lot of people, including me, gave up on them like 8 times this season. And they've earned it, man. They battled through a lot. They got traded a bum pitcher.
Yep.
They battled through a ton.
I was nervous when they were down that half game and thought, the momentum has swung, but they fought back.
No,
they played the last couple months. They were fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's see. Super Bowl halftime show just announced this past week. Jennifer Lopez and Shakira.
Yeah.
What if there's a wardrobe malfunction at the Super Bowl?
It'd be great. Jennifer Lopez is one of the sexiest people on earth. This is going to be the worst Super Bowl show of all time.
Oh.
This is
you
the
just
problem.
said she's one of the sexiest
she is,
people,
but that is,
and you're going to say that it's bad.
So? That doesn't mean you're talented. I'm
No, it
good
doesn't.
looking. Doesn't mean I'm good at anything.
I thought you were going to say you're talented but not good looking.
Or that.
See, I'd go that
either way.
but
Either way you want to look at it.
You're a handsome guy. You really charm the ladies.
I appreciate that. But here's the thing, too, though. None of them are relevant.
Yeah.
And I get it, like she's got a giant rebound now because
Movies.
her husband, and I get that in that movie.
Yeah.
She hasn't had a good song in 20 years.
You said the same thing about Will Smith last week. You said he hasn't done anything relevant in 20 years.
Yeah, probably not. Gemini Man looks awful.
Yeah, you
what
hate
has he
that
done
movie.
that's any good?
Suicide
but the
Squad,
point of
maybe.
it is they're I don't know how to say this without sounding like an a-hole, but
You
they're
can sound
just
like an
too
a-hole.
chicken bleep to do something like
Yeah.
21 Pilots.
Yeah.
They have to do something, and this is going to
That's
sound awful.
young, hip
but
now
they
with it,
have
wow.
right that will attract people who don't want to watch the Super Bowl into watching it. That's all it is now. Have a comic. Have Kevin Hart do it.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Dude, a stand-up actor.
Right.
Get
have a
Chappelle
stand-up-
in there.
Right.
See?
I don't know if they'd trust him, but
I'd go with
have
Chappelle.
Kevin Hart do it. Have
All right.
have the cleanest guy in America do it. Gaffigan. Somebody
Jim
like
Gaff-
that.
Hot
Don't-
Pockets?
Yeah.
All right.
He's relevant.
Time for us. Okay, so we already pretty much did that. Who would you rather have? Pretty much anybody other than J-Lo or Shakira.
Anybody.
Anybody.
And Shakira's
Comedian.
hot as fire.
Yeah.
Hips
that
Don't
was-
Lie, great song, but I
Man.
was still in high school when that song came out.
So the picks. You and I have pretty much been in lockstep thinking the Vikings, I think, so far this season. I'm going to go first. I never want to be accused of being a homer. I think they're going to lose. And I think it's going to be 17-13. And I think that the Bears defense is going to score a touchdown somewhere in there. I think Kirk Cousins is going to, the scrutiny this season, this isn't the national, it's the afternoon game on CBS. It's not a prime timer. It's not a Sunday night or a Monday night or a Thursday night. But I think the pressure is going to be there. I think he's going to cough it up. Probably a fumble. Probably give up a touchdown late in the game and cost the game.
Non-playoff related, this is the biggest game of Kirk Cousins' career. They'll win. He has to win.
Oh.
He has to.
Has to doesn't mean it'll happen.
Now, I know. That's a great point. That's such a dad line, though. That's a great dad line.
I've
My
got
dad
3
used
kids
to
in a
do when
minivan, so there you go.
My dad
That's,
used to say that when I was a kid. I'm like, well, what? He'd be like, just because it has to doesn't mean it will.
Yeah.
But they have to win.
So you're picking Vikings.
Yeah, I'll pick them 21-10.
You realize the team that loses is in last place in the North.
Right, that's another thing,
Even with
yeah.
a 500 record, they're going to be 2 games behind Green Bay.
That's dumb.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add to the show?
No, I don't have any more good stories. My top of my head hurts. I have a horrible cold. I don't know, I'm just falling apart.
You're just falling apart.
I'm just falling apart.
Just
I
hold
can't
it
wait
together
till
till
it's-
next week.
I can't wait till it's actually winter, so then I have like an excuse to not do anything. I basically turn into a hermit.
Yeah.
My 70-year-old parents go out more than I do. I
Well, you
dread
should-
Friday and Saturdays.
Should go
'cause
along
then-
with them.
No.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
No.
All right. Anything else you want to say?
No, that's all I got.
All right. Well, you'll be back here next week.
I will. Oh yeah,
Okay.
August. Not. Why do I keep saying August?
Uh,
October 12th, New Hope Cinema Grill. What time?
Oh,
will that
there you
be?
go, yeah.
2 shows. New Hope cinemagrill.com. Common and I doing stand up.
good for you.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
We'll see you next week.